how we eat tuna, but we wouldn't eat a dolphin, and how what they do when they market tuna is they use these like fishing lines instead of massive nets, which is basically to avoid the chaos of accidentally trapping a bigger fish or a turtle or a dolphin that you would in a net. And so, yeah, then the question, came to me, why is it okay to eat a tuna, not a dolphin? And it comes down to our perception of the animal. So I think one reason is a weird kind of way our brain's structured, in that how a dolphin's kind of more anthropomorphized in the way that it laughs, in the way that it smiles, and everyone kind of likes a dolphin. And because we're empathetic people, all the women find dolphins cute and things like that. But then there's another strand of it the obvious example is, why do some cultures eat dogs? But I kind of looked and I thought about it, and I was like, the dogs in China, I don't think they're like the really fluffy, really cute, really genetically modified ones. And so they don't have as much of that value placed on in other ways. And I feel like every animal is kind of used to its utility in a way by humans. I think that's something we've done. So if we're not going to eat them, we're going to use them for their aesthetic value and how cute they are. Or we're going to put them in a zoo and think, and maybe they're quite eccentric animal, and we go, look, there's a giraffe. So in some way or another, I think we are using animals for their utility for the most part. So then the question is, well, is it moral to eat animals? And I lean towards yes, because evolution and circle of life, I think it's very biologically important. But having said that, if you told me to eat my cat, I wouldn't want to do that because I have emotions towards the animal. So then we kind of just decided as a collective, let's eat that animal and let's not eat that one, because this one it tastes good and this one looks nice. So that's the warm up. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, it's another one of these situations where the story we tell ourselves around the thing is more important than the thing itself, right? And in your dolphin and tuna example, it's all about the symbolism around that animal. Tuna, it's literally like associated with food first, right? Same way with many of the animals we eat most often. Whereas dolphins are seen as very intelligent animals. When I think of a dolphin, what comes to me, because that's kind of like what it symbolizes, what it connotes, and it to me is it's intelligence. It's their communication style through the whistling. It's the fact that they are like one of the only animal species that have sexual intercourse for fun and not just for function, right? So in that, I relate that and be like, well, they're a bit more human. They're a bit more switched on, I guess. They have a greater degree of awareness, let's say. And when I think of a tuna, I think of tuna sandwiches that you get in a meal deal. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's those instant first meanings from the animal, the things you associate with them, that actually then influences your perception most profoundly. And I think I like your point about we, in some manner, do draw some utility from all animals, whether it is the giraffe in the zoo, if that, despite the fact that that's morally questionable, or it's the teacup chihuahua. Do you know what I mean? That's like for its cuteness and its aesthetics as a pet. And then you have the chicken, the pig, the cow that we mainly use in our diet. And like the question about eating animals or not, it's like, to me, that's a less important question, because we were, as a species and in our ancestors, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago, we eat other animals. We are a predator. We're prey to many species too back then, of course, but we were part of the food chain like everything else. And so it's okay in my brain to consume other species. It's the way we go about it that's more like that raises the moral question always to me. It's the factory farming, it's the industry, it's the shortcuts that they make to cut costs that mean that the animal was treated in an inhumane way. You know, if we were still living out in the wild and were catching prey in ways that our ancestors may have done, then I think there would be no moral question about it, because you need it to survive. It's the fact that it's packaged in plastic and put in a big fridge in a supermarket, and you have no idea where that meat came from. You had no idea about the emotions of the animal, or what, you know, stuff in syringes has been pumped into it, what steroids and hormones and all that shit. So I think, yeah, it's a good warm-up question, because it just does show that we live inside the narratives in our brains that we associate with the world, not necessarily like the world as it is. Because theoretically, the difference between eating dolphin flesh and eating tuna flesh is the same, but to us, based on our like narratives and our cultural, you know, the influences of our culture on us, it would feel very different.
I think with the dolphin, because it looks a bit like us and has human characteristics, I don't think we want to eat something that is similar to a human. I think we're not supposed to be cannibalistic. We're supposed to be together with our tribe and kind of stick to it, and therefore it's normally kind of us and them, us and the animals. And I think about I think with maybe animals like dogs and cats, I think they kind of do have, we almost, the way that we dress them up and stuff, and the way that they look, give them all the accessories, it's almost like you can look at a chihuahua and think that's like sort of a luxury, like fashion boy with like just like looking all cute and stuff, and there's just no way we'd want to eat that. Well, most people don't.
Also, you can weigh it up, right? And you go, it's so mad, but it makes sense in my head that like the companionship of an animal, like a cat or a dog, let's say the chihuahua example, the love that you can give and receive to that being, and the fact you can have it around as a companion, is way more useful than if we were going to consume it, because look at the size of it. Like the calorie to sacrifice ratio is shit. And so they're, you know, they're great to have around, and that's why we hate the idea of eating a dog, because they are like our friends. They are well integrated into our species. You know, so